All right. We are just getting this live stream started up. So just hold on a little bit. I'm trying to get the people sorted out. Because we're trying to try something new today. What we're trying to do for this a little bit is we're going to do something in the VC channel. Where we might have we might do a three-way. I will probably invite Rex's Prime. To be honest, I didn't plan this super thoroughly, though we had concepts of a plan going into this early. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully. All right. Uh-oh. Did someone set it up to do a different one? I apologize, stream. We're trying to set this up still. Let me edit this channel, see how many people has to join, hopefully. It's not locked. Let's see if we could switch it to... All right. Are you guys cool with doing a three-way discussion? Yeah. All right, let's do a three-way discussion. I know we were going to do some lists. I don't know if Rex watches wrestling, but we'll see if it. We'll see. I mean, we'll probably just do the list itself. I don't know. We might do just a couple of them. All right, let me just share this over. All right, so we are
something related to wrestling.
What's that?
So, are we live?
Yeah, we're live. So I've just got us on this channel inside of the idiot box over here, because apparently our general chat is locked to 2 people. I don't know. Is that just default, Rexus? I mean, you're a mod.
No, really. It's not the default. I think someone messed up with the whole modding thing. And of course, with me, I just barely even speak in the server, so it definitely wasn't me.
Well, we'll just have to make do with the idiot box, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, this is the...
We can always do General 2, Electric Boogaloo.
What if I just... What is this? Oh, there's a general chat. But we've only... Yeah, for some reason, it's like locked to 2. I know I didn't play around with any of those channels, the voice channels. So I guess because it's a general chat, I don't know. Maybe someone else that I might have given mod might have just wanted to lock it to 2. But who knows?
Maybe.
All right. So we are here on this live stream on YouTube. It's kind of...
Hold up. Need to do something. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
All right, we are live on YouTube. Yeah, shout out your channel, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can shout out.
Well, subscribe to Shoes of a Champion. I know I haven't really been consistently uploading videos, but I have a couple shorts.
Hell yeah.
That I upload.
Yeah, shorts are funny, man.
And subscribe to this guy, Rexus.
Yeah,
Rexus Prime.
I think his old YouTube got like taken down or something. But I can let him describe that if you're more interested in that. But yeah, you're live. So yeah, let's do a couple lists that you wanted to get in, because you said prior to doing this stream you wanted to talk a little bit about the top 10 UFC fighters of all time, right?
Yeah, I want to do like you know how I call Smart Busters, do like a top 10.
Yeah,
I want to do something like that.
Yeah, let's.
I mean, I have my list. I have my list like down.
Yeah.
You want to go over it? Maybe we could do like 10. Like I do my 10, and then you do your 10, and then we go down the list. You know, all the way to 1.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. So,
All right.
What is your top 10 UFC fighters of all time?
All right. So at number 10, I got Justin Gaethje. You know, exciting fighter. He's, you know, known for his punches and his calf kicks. He's always had like very entertaining fights. I have him at the 10th spot.
All right, that's a pretty good choice. At number 10, for me, I put Max Bless Holloway, man. Max Bless Holloway.
Yeah.
I mean, he's extremely entertaining. I mean, he's still relatively young and up and coming. He's had a lot of close fights, and he's got a big fight coming up soon against Ilian Topuria, and it's gonna be exciting. And yeah, I'm hyped up to see what Max Holloway's gonna do.
Yeah, those of you listening to this podcast, check out the fight October 26th, 8 a.m. in Hawaii time. So that'll be like what, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Check it out, October 26th.
Yeah, check them out.
Yeah, check them out. Number 9 spot, I got Robbie Lawler. Very exciting fighter. Check out his fight. Those of you listening, check out his fight with Rory McDonald. It was a very entertaining fight, very gory fight. I think Robbie Lawler. I think he's one of the best welterweight champions ever. He certainly had one of the most entertaining title reigns in the welterweight division.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. For my number 9, I've got Jorge Masvidal. He's not the greatest on the mic, but he does have his moments, and I think his fights are entertaining. He also has the fastest knockout in UFC after Ben Funky Askren in the face, and he's a Trump supporter as well.
Yeah, that's the thing about UFC fighters. You hear Hollywood and shit, fucking NFL. You rarely see any Trump supporters. UFC, you see a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the number 8?
Number 8, I got Colby Covington. So not the most exciting fighter, you know. I mean, not saying his fighting style is, you know, isn't effective. It's certainly effective. He's one of the best wrestlers in UFC. And the reason why I have him so high is, you know, he's a big time Trump supporter. He's great on the mic. He's one of the best on the mic in the UFC. I love his whole Trump supporter, you know, thing. His character, it's not like an over the top character. It's himself. It's like the guy's, you know, I don't know. I like the guy. You know, he's a big Trump supporter. He's a great heel in the UFC.
Yeah, very.
So yeah, my number 8 is Colby Covington.
Yeah, Colby Covington's pretty good. For my number 8, I mean, I had to go with the classic. I went with Chael Sonnen. I mean, he's one of the best wrestlers to grace the octagon. He's got the power in his fists as well. You know, he's one of the greats, and he's amazing on the mic as well. And I just always thought he was pretty entertaining.
He was certainly a pioneer for, you know, trash talking UFC MMA.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Number 7, I got another. I got a bit of a classic name. I got Rampage Jackson.
Oh yeah, Rampage.
Exciting fighter, slams and shit. He's one of the strongest fighters in UFC history. He slams, he does the power bomb. He's known for his slams, and he's also known for his he does have a very charismatic personality. He's a character. He was a character in UFC.
Yeah.
Check out his old fights.
Yeah, he was
Also in Pride. His peak, his peak was actually in Pride FC.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was when he was the best. That's when he did the original power bomb out of an armbar move that knocked out that guy.
Yeah, Ricardo something, I think his name is, and that guy wasn't the same after the power bomb, after he got dropped on his head.
Well, for my number 7, I went I went real old school. I went for Hoist Gracie. He's the guy who won the first UFC, one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, he didn't really have any mic skill, but I mean, you have to respect that he was the pioneer of the UFC, and he was pretty much the guy who, put BJJ on the map.
Yeah, certainly. If it wasn't for Hoist Gracie, I don't think the UFC would be here today. He was certainly one of the first. He was certainly one of the first big stars from the early days.
Yep. How about number 6?
Yep. All right, so number 6, I got another classic name. I got Tito Ortiz.
Oh yeah, he's really good.
Another. He was another client. He was kind of another, he was one of the UFC's bigger names in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
He's also a Trump supporter. He's also he's always on Fox News and shit. He's a very open Trump supporter.
Yeah. He's pretty good as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he was he had a similar style to Chuck Liddell as well, where he would do the ground and pound fight style.
Yeah, they were sparring partners.
Yeah. But speaking of Chuck,
that era,
6, that's who I put. I put Chuck Liddell. He's the inventor of Sprawl and Brawl. He was also, he also had his moments on the mic. He could trash talk a little bit as well. And he's a big redneck guy. He's just he was a beast, man. And he had fucking lunch pails for fists.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of if Steve Austin was a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Kind of always felt like the Steve Austin of UFC.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell was great.
All right, so at number 5, I got Jorge Masvidal. Like you mentioned earlier, 6-second knockout. He's a pretty entertaining striker. He wasn't the best on the mic, but he did have his moments.
Yeah. For my number 5,
what else could I?
For my number 5, I put Sean Strickland. I mean, he's just one of the better guys that trashed on the mic, and I think he's just very brutal. His style is, he's a tough guy. He's able to just wail on people, and he just doesn't regret it. And he's got that kind of schoolyard mentality. He just takes out his anger on people. I mean, he's probably one of the few fighters that he can literally just say, "Oh, I see red when you hit me," and then that's how he beats people.
Well, my number 4, I have Sean Strickland. Like you just mentioned, great on the mic. He's had his moments. His career-defining moment was, fucking brutally destroying Israel Adesanya and ending his fucking, not really ending his reign of dominance, because Pereira did beat him, but he did avenge that loss. But Strickland destroyed him. Strickland won fucking all 5 rounds, and he kind of put an end to the Adesanya trail, which kind of made me an even bigger fan of him.
Yeah.
And his trash talk, I love his trash talk. He shuts down the SJW. He's a big Trump supporter. I love how he's brutally honest. He doesn't give a fuck.
That's what I think is pretty cool about him as well. For my number 4, I put Anderson the Spider Silva, just because he had such a unique style. He just was extremely entertaining. He was a former champion. It was just, he was excellent, and he kind of modernized the sport of MMA, and created a lot of this freestyle fighting movement, which just creates a lot more entertaining and exciting fights. He's also a BJJ black belt and excellent Muay Thai kickboxer as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's, not to mention 11 he still has the second place in title. He has 11 title defenses. 10 or 11, I think. He's been a dominant champion from like 2006 to like 2013.
Yeah. He was also the first guy, well, actually not the first guy, but the second guy to go the distance with Jake Paul. And he was 50 when
better throw that in there.
If he was in his prime, he would have beat Jake Paul.
They probably would have. Oh yeah, in his prime, yeah. I mean, he's certainly one of the best strikers ever in UFC. Paul? Jake Paul.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, Logan Paul's the brother.
Yeah, Logan Paul's the brother. He's doing WWE.
Yeah, he's doing WWE, and now he's doing the Lunchley thing. You ever heard of Lunchley?
Yes, I've heard about it, and it's getting backlash.
Yeah, because their prime had like Red 40 in it.
Yep.
That and it's
and then there's Mr. Beast, which is an entirely different rabbit hole. So.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Tyson, that whole situation is crazy.
I think I have a video for that whole thing. Like it relates to the situation, and yet the person who made the video did the joke so fucking well. Like I'm gonna send you a screen recording and a DM.
All right, sounds good. So who's your number 3?
All right. So my number 3, I got Dustin Poirier. Certainly one of my favorite fighters right now. I became a huge fan of this guy after the second Max Holloway fight back in 2019. It was a great fight. Check it out. Those of you watching, check out that fight. It was around that time I wasn't really huge into UFC at the time. I heard a bit of this guy. I knew about Max Holloway. Like all my coworkers, none of them wanted to bet against Holloway, so like I took the bet, even though I didn't really know much about Dustin Poirier. So I took the bet and like I won the bet. It was it was a very entertaining fight, and yeah, I won like $150 from that fight, and like ever since then, Poirier he's beaten McGregor twice. Like he's certainly one of the best fighters to like never win the undisputed title.
Oh yeah, very true.
He's also he's not the greatest on the mic. Like he mostly plays like a face kind of character. He's not really much of a trash talker. But like with the McGregor stuff with McGregor is like that's been like his best mic work, I guess I would say. Yeah. He's kind of shown like what he could do on the mic.
Yeah, for my number 3, I had to put BJ Penn for number 3. I mean, he is he's the youngest non-Brazilian to win and earn a black belt, and also win the BJJ tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Not only that, he's also the first double champ. First in UFC.
He's actually the second.
Oh, second double
after Couture.
Oh, Couture. Yeah, you're right. I forgot. Couture, man. He was. Yeah, I forgot to even put him on my list, Brandy Couture. But yeah, he was great. I remember when he came out of retirement, and yeah, he was doing pretty awesome. But anyways, regardless, second double champ in UFC, and he was just a beast. And pretty much up until he started going on that 7-fight losing streak, like he was considered one of the best fighters of all time.
Yeah, certainly. That kind of like ruined his reputation. That kind of got people to forget, what he accomplished before that.
Yeah.
Sadly.
But he was really good though back in the day.
Yeah, he was one of the best back then. He was the number one pound for pound fighter for a while during his heyday.
Yeah, he was just, he's one of the greatest of all times, and unfortunately, it's sad to see what Penn's doing now. I mean, he's not the same guy as he used to be. I mean, he needs some help. It seems like, because I've seen him on the Instagram, and he's going a little crazy with this whole mask people conspiracy he keeps pushing.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It's
you
crazy.
think of the mask people conspiracy he keeps pushing.
Yeah, I think it's weird. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing. I hope he's. I hope he's doing all right. I see him a lot at the gym. I train at his gym.
Yeah. I mean.
Anyways,
he's normally a nice guy. I've met him before, and he's normally a really cool guy. But it just seems like he just ain't bright right now. And with what he's doing, I don't know if it's just him on social media, because he's like a completely different person from what everyone says. Like when he's in person, he's a nice guy. He's all smiles. He's giving everyone handshakes and fist bumps. And then when he's on the line, he's like a crazy guy.
I think he's a troll.
Yeah, could be.
He could be just.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It's a possibility.
He doesn't.
Gets attention from it.
In person, he doesn't seem the way he posts his shit on social media. He seems normal in person.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Anyways, my number two favorite fighter, I have Alex Poatan Pereira.
Oh yeah, Chama.
Most exciting fighter in the UFC today. He just had his fucking, if you guys didn't see the last stream we talked about the fight with Khalil Roundtree. It was very entertaining. This guy's never had a boring fight. He's certainly one of the best. He's certainly, I don't know, if you ask me, he should be the number one pound for pound fighter over Islam Makhachev, just because he's been more active. And he's been more active. He already has as many title defenses as Makhachev in a whole calendar year. Makhachev's been champion for 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
And Pereira, he's been active. He's had way more exciting fights. I say he's the best fighter. He's the pound for pound best right now in UFC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The guy's never had a boring fight. The guy's, he's known for his left hook is iconic at this point. He's already he's already up there, like one of the best light heavyweight champions already. The guy's 3 title defenses already.
Yeah. Alex
Pereira, I think
he's a tough guy. And that left hook is deadly.
Yeah, it's iconic. And the guy before UFC, the guy's a two-time Glory champion. He's the first guy to win the Glory kickboxing title twice. And he's also like before UFC, he's beaten Israel Adesanya twice in kickboxing. One by knockout and one by decision.
Yeah.
And then when he came into UFC, he knocked out Adesanya again. And he beat Iri Prohaska twice by knockout.
Distance with Adesanya in another fight. But then Adesanya caught him with a punch and that ended the fight.
And in the second round, yeah. And then he's knocked out Sean Strickland with the left hook. He's knocked out Iri Prohaska twice, like I mentioned. He's not to mention the Jamal Hill fight. That was a very satisfying fight after all the trash talk Jamal Hill did.
Yeah, he turned
Jamal Hill was still he's still bitching about it to this day. It's October and Jamal Hill hasn't gotten over it. I think it's hilarious.
And Jamal Hill refuses to be on a pay-per-view with Alex Pereira now.
Yeah, that too. He apparently Jamal Hill on UFC 303 when Pereira fought Yuri Prochazka. Jamal Hill was supposed to fight on that card, ironically against Khalil Roundtree. And then after Roundtree pulled out, he was supposed to fight Carlos Uhlberg. But then once Alex Pereira got into the card, the Jamal Hill fight was mysteriously dropped.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with Jamal not wanting to share the same pay-per-view card as Alex Pereira.
Probably. The guy's just, I don't know, the guy's he's very sensitive.
Yeah. For my number 2, I put the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. I mean, come on. The guy his fights were fucking entertaining as hell, and he was a former world heavyweight champion. I come from originally watching WWE, and I watched Brock Lesnar fucking throw people around in fake fights in WWE, and that was fun to watch. And he was even more fun to watch in UFC, especially when he can go unscripted and say the F word and shit like that. So yeah, he was always awesome to watch, and he just fucking smashed people's faces with his fists, and he'd fucking throw people in UFC too. It was awesome.
He's certainly better. He's certainly better on the mic without a script. The Marks want to talk about CM Punk and the pipe bomb. No, look at Brock Lesnar's UFC promos. They were hilarious.
Yeah.
Horseshoe up his ass. The Frank Mir promo.
Yeah.
The Bud Light promo. Those of you watching, check out those promos. They're hilarious.
And who do you got?
All right, so before I review my number 1, I have a few honorable mentions. I got Conor McGregor, entertaining fighter, known for his trash talk. It's a top, it was already tough. It was already tough making the top 10 list, so yeah, he fell to the honorable mentions. I also have Chael Sonnen and Ken Shamrock as my honorable mentions. All right, my number one fighter, BJ Penn, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The guy was one of the best in his heyday.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the reason why I kind of put him at number 1 is because I personally know the guy. I'm on a first name basis with him. Like my dad was friends with him in high school.
Yeah.
And I train at his gym every day.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and BJ, he was just one of the most brutal fighters as well back in the day as well. I remember he'd after he'd win fights, he'd lick the blood off his gloves. It was sweet, man.
Yeah, he was, he obviously he was before I was old enough to really know UFC. He was the first UFC fighter I knew about. I guess I could say I kind of got to witness the tail end of his prime. I did see the Kenny Florian and what's his name? The crazy guy with Diego Sanchez. I did get to see those fights live. So yeah, BJ Penn. What else can I say? The guy was one of the best back in his heyday. We don't really like to talk about the losing streak though.
Yeah. I have a couple honorable mentions as well. One of the honorable mentions I wanted to bring up was, as you mentioned, Ken Shamrock. Also a former pro wrestler, but also a really great catch wrestler as well. And he was a runner-up inside of that original UFC, and he's one of the top grapplers. Really early on in that early days of MMA. Another one I wanted to bring up that I thought would be good as well was Cain Velasquez. He's a tough guy. Former NCAA wrestler, and he was pretty good as well. Also wanted to talk about Alexander Volkanovski. He's for a little guy, he packs quite the punch, and he honestly, I think he was screwed in the Islam Makhachev fight. I think he actually won that fight. He had knocked Islam Makhachev down in every single round, and it's just appalling that he lost that that matchup.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
That was bullshit.
Yeah, it was bullshit. But yeah, for my number one of all time, as we mentioned earlier, Alex Puton Chama Pereira. He's probably one of the greatest fighters of all time right now. I mean, he's just started in MMA, and he's had more title fights than he's had regular matchups.
Yeah, like almost every MMA fight he's had so far has already been a title match. That's crazy. And the guy's only been fighting in MMA for like almost 3 years, and it's crazy all the shit he accomplished in that short amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
the guy's the guy.
He's got the warrior spirit.
The guy's yeah, for sure. And he's got I like the whole like the whole character he's kind of going for with the whole bow and arrow and like I forgot to mention that earlier, but yeah, the bow and arrow and the war paint he wears at the weigh-ins.
Yeah, that's like kind of adds to the aura, I guess, of Alex Pereira.
Yeah, it does. Not to mention the stare downs.
Yeah, he's good at that.
He has one of the best stare downs ever.
You just look. I mean, come on, like the meme says it all. He looks like the Easter Island, fucking whatever this.
Moai.
Yeah, the Easter Island guy. Yeah, the Moai.
Yeah, the Easter Island, the fucking stone face.
He looks like this. This is Alex Pereira in the general chat.
Walkie-talkie Moai.
Yeah, there's a house in my neighborhood that has a little Moai character, and every time I pass the house, I go, Chama!
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been our top 10 UFC fighters. It's been hard, there's a lot of UFC fighters that I had to leave off the list. Well, yeah, that's at the top of my head. That's what I came up with. I mostly went based off of fighting style and mic work when I came up with my list.
Yeah, that's pretty true, and I try to kind of balance it out a little bit as well with my list. At the same time, for me, I mean, let's be honest, it's really difficult to order them all. So like for example,
yeah, that too.
Put Conor McGregor. I could have thrown Conor McGregor on there too. I mean, really, with these top tens, you're just kind of like throwing names at the wall, especially with something. I guess you could say something as vague as top 10 UFC fighters, right?
Yeah,
not even with like top 10 fighters of a certain weight division or of a certain era,
Yeah, it's just just UFC fighters in general, like all weight classes and shit. It's not really it's not necessarily who we think is the best. It's just our favorites. It's like it's in the order of like. Well, I don't know. It was tough to put it in a certain order, but like I just kind of, I don't know. It was just kind of at the top of my head.
Yeah.
Like I just put BJ Penn at number one just because I know the guy personally. He's the only one I really met. Although I could have met Nate Diaz, but yeah, BJ Penn. I've met him a bunch of times, and I like he's from my hometown, so I kind of just automatically put him at number one by default.
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean.
Yeah.
Come on, he's been a nice guy. I've met him too, so I agree. Like, I see why you're biased towards BJ, and I like BJ too. That's why I put him at number 3. I just think I just think his losing streak kind of tarnished his legacy, and then there was him getting knocked out by a drunk dude in a street fight. And then
the bar fights.
Yeah, then the bar fights, and then he said the N-word, and then after that he ran for governor and lost, and then he ran for county council and lost, and now he thinks that people are running around wearing masks and not coronavirus masks.
Not coronavirus masks.
Feels like
Uncle B,
feels like
if you ever come across this video, we mean no disrespect.
Yeah, I don't mean any disrespect. I just think it's like come on, BJ, like your legacy is just getting tarnished. Like the more you just keep doing crazy stuff, you know. I think the guy.
Yeah.
I think he was. I absolutely respect the hustle and him being one of the greatest fighters of all time. It's just like maybe don't go on Instagram and rant about masked people. I don't know. That's just my take.
Yeah, that's been our top 10 UFC fighters.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another one? Or?
Let's talk about Kamala Harris right now because apparently Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah, I heard that she's at like what 43.1% in the polls.
Yeah, Kamala Harris has gone way fucking down in the polls, guys. Kamala Harris, here's the poll.
What's that, nationwide?
I just have to say this. She is so woke that she makes Biden look based.
Yeah.
In comparison.
Seriously.
That's saying something.
I mean, I think all of us could admit, we could probably rant about Kamala all fucking day. But she was the one that when I came into making this video I knew I wanted to talk about Kamala and how poorly she's doing in the polls. Right now, she is just 1 point ahead within the margin of error in states in Nevada. She's also got very slim 0.5 and 1 point leads in Michigan and Wisconsin, respectfully. She's losing by a point in Pennsylvania, and in Georgia, she's losing by almost 2 points. And those are the swing states. And in North Carolina, she's like 3.5.
The entire DEI hire is about losing.
Yeah, I mean, she is a DEI hire.
Yeah, that's all her thing is.
Yep.
That's all her thing is. That's all I hear from her. All I hear from her is, don't you want a woman president? A woman of color?
Yeah, that's what I agree.
All the celebrities. All the celebrity, like Jesse Ventura, all Jesse Ventura talked about when he endorsed her was, I want to see a woman president for the first time. That's all her thing has been, is just women of color.
Yeah.
If you don't vote for me, you're sexist, you're racist. The same old fucking woke playbook.
Yep. You have the exact same old woke arguments with exception to this new one, which is now getting old pretty quick. You're a grifter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Well, which of course that entire argument is now getting old very quick, because it's like, okay, so you're now telling us that yes, we are in fact very well set in stone into our own beliefs. That's the things.
Yeah. Well, to the left, I think to the current left, everybody to them that doesn't right now walk in goose step with the Democratic Party is a grifter. So they'll call RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard grifters because they went with Trump and endorsed him. They call Elon Musk a grifter. Even though Elon Musk has done so many contributions to modern society with his inventions and with his companies, as well.
Whatever makes him feel good.
But they call him a grifter, but I don't see how he's grifting when it's the left that actually uses his products more often than not. It's the left who loves fucking Teslas, right? But they hate the guy who made them.
Whatever makes him feel good.
Yeah. But Kamala, all she has is the DEI shit. So the fact that she's a woman and she's a biracial woman of color is her main playbook. Then it's abortion, because that's all the left really has. Like their a whole is abortion. When Donald, like right now, the left's playbook is to basically use Project 2025, which is, by the way, not really even related to Donald Trump. There was a Project 2017, by the way, that Donald Trump barely implemented really much of anything. There was a few things that, the left will say, oh, well, this was in Project 2017, and Donald Trump implemented similar legislation, but that's because they're both conservatives, and conservatives are going to push some sort of similar legislation. And some of that is just stuff that Congress pushed that Trump signed off. But Donald Trump has already said the creator of Project 2025 is a right-wing asshole, and his project, or Donald Trump's, his policy doesn't necessarily align with Project 2025. Like, Project 2025 wants the national abortion ban, but Donald Trump consistently keeps saying...
Specifically for transgender people, oddly enough.
What's that?
Specifically for my transgender people. No, I mean, Project 2025 doesn't want them trans people in the entire abortion debate.
Yeah. Well, I find it so weird with trans people in the abortion debate, because it's like, how is a trans person gonna have an abortion? Are we talking about like girl?
I guess a chick trying to be a dude?
A guy pregnant?
Sterile?
I mean, I think
most
regardless,
sterile and just can't have children.
Yeah, I mean, the hormones that most of these people take actually end up making them sterile, whether that be in the short term or the long run anyways. And then the surgeries also essentially make you not able to have kids, I guess, to put it lightly. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just, like, basically Kamala is saying, oh, Donald Trump's going to implement Project 2025, but Trump has said repeatedly he wants to leave it to the states. It's what he did in back before 2020, in his first presidential run. Roe v. Wade got overturned, and then the states got to choose. And personally, I think I support like stuff like the Hyde Amendment, which basically says, oh, there's exceptions for the rape, incest, and life of the mother. And Donald Trump also says he supports things like the Hyde Amendment. He supports the three exceptions, as he calls them. And he said that if he wanted to have the federal government step in and put together a solidified abortion cutoff, that it would be 15 weeks with that Hyde Amendment protection. So it seems like the left wants to have abortions up to all the way up until the 9th month, because what Donald Trump
within the black community for some reason. Yeah. Well, like, I mean, it's just weird that the left always pushes for abortion, and yet most of these abortion areas are like areas for black people, which is so really weird.
Oh, yeah,
it's like,
that's where
do you really care about black people, or are you guys still racist?
That's where they put most of the clinics is in poor neighborhoods, and neighborhoods. Those poor neighborhoods tend to be neighborhoods where there's people of color. The logic behind it is because there's more poor people in these areas, well, they're going to have more abortions because they won't be able to afford kids. When in actuality, doctors really shouldn't be recommending abortions as the main go-to thing. What we should do is, as a society, I think we need to keep push for birth control, like condoms and Plan B, and adoption centers need to be funded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just keep your fucking legs closed. Keep your dick in your pants. It's not very hard.
Yeah, I mean, those people are they're just horny as hell, and then they and then they wonder why they all have AIDS.
Yeah,
Yeah, that too. Like they just don't take accountability for their the consequences for their actions.
Oh
It's not
yeah,
that hard to see.
yeah.
Like I
yeah.
know that like they
Those
always
people are just very dumb.
like I know they always say like rape, incest, but like is it really like I don't really pay attention to like the statistics, but like is like I don't know. I'm pretty sure like one out of 10 like there's a 1 out of 10 chance that's actually the case, right? Isn't most of it just women who just hoe around, just slut around, and they fuck dudes, and they can't afford to take care of the kids, so they get an abortion. Isn't that more likely?
Most,
Hasn't that been like more of the abortion, like
most
statistically?
so most so
I
most
don't know.
of the actual abortions that happen, from what I'm aware of, is that it's more so about like actual money and like not being able to afford kids. Um, and I
Yeah, exactly.
and there's ways to prevent that. When we push onto society like this lifestyle where you're with multiple partners and you're having like we don't the crazy thing is it's not, at least when I went to school I was taught, oh well if you're gonna have sex in this society in this modern age you should wear a condom all the time, if you're not trying to get anyone pregnant, you should have plan B on hand or some other morning after pill or something similar, or women should be encouraged that if they want to have sex with partners that they should get some sort of implant, which is all very possible with modern healthcare. um, but it seems like the left wants to push for abortion as the main go-to, um, you know birth control. They don't talk about actual issues. They don't talk about, oh, we have an underfunded foster care system. Why don't we fund the foster care system? Have doctors encourage foster care so we can have, limit the amount of abortions, because abortions are expensive. Let's be honest. So
Yeah, but still, the entire left, what it just pushes, like currently nowadays, the left pushes for degeneracy. Just to put it lightly.
It's a social degeneracy, and it's crazy to think that like right now the Republican frontrunner is like Donald Trump, and they're allying with RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. These are like 1990s Democrats basically, and the left is just what they're at. They're just at like social degeneracy and just like absolute lunacy, borderline socialism for a lot of them, and they're not willing to make
Yeah,
compromises either.
most of them are just neo-Marxists at this point.
Yeah, and they're not even willing
Even
to make
though,
compromises. Kamala once
yeah, even though
Roe
there's
v. Wade.
one,
Go for it.
and also, so sorry, but I do want to say this. If there's so you know about the whole free Palestine thing and the whole woke
Oh
leftists
yeah.
going like, oh yeah, free Palestine.
Yeah.
Here's one thing for anyone who's surprised, this is not surprising that these people would be all anti-Jewish, because I remember back in 2016 or 2017, some of my SJWs denied the existence of the Holocaust. So it's not really new for these woke leftists just to be anti-Jewish.
Well, we just call that, at least in my circles, as an independent, we call that the horseshoe theory, because essentially the
Yep.
far left has gone so far left that they've become the far right, and then they start putting the ideas of like eco-fascists.
I'm just gonna say this: even socialism is all anti-Jewish, mainly due to one thing. If you want to know who gave way to the entire Jewish worship money stereotype, Karl Marx. he was the one who invented that entire stereotype.
Yeah. I think it's just. I think the
So
I think
really, both
main
sides
difference-
just suck.
I think the main difference between the far right and the far left, like you'll see, like eco-fascists and these Free Palestine Antifa protesters touting a lot of the same rhetoric, or at least touting what ends up equating to the same rhetoric, which is both authoritarian in nature. I think what you end up, the difference between them that really separates them apart is that with the far right, it's more of about a race thing. I mean, I got a book recently about the Apocrypha, and it's like a pretty. It's a book that is pretty far right, but in order to understand these people, you have to read their literature. So for the far right, it's more about a race thing and about how they are angry because they believe that the Jews are falsely claiming to be the chosen people. Whereas for the far left, they just don't like Israel because they hate the West, because they hate everything Western culture, and they want societal degeneracy essentially. And also maybe partially.
And then there's the fact
the underlying contrarianism as well.
And then there's the fact that within Karl Marx's Das Kapital, he alludes to the fact that if you are a capitalist, you are Jewish. Yeah, the capitalists are Jews in their eyes. So really, both sides of the entire political spectrum just hate Jews.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point you got there, Rexus. Good point.
Yep. And then there's and I think I remember hearing about this. The word bourgeoisie in French really just means middle class. But since that I'm a Marxism is basically word fetishism, in their ideology it means this: Jews, Christians, or Judeo-Christians. Just either one of those two religions.
Yeah, I think it's very crazy that the horseshoe theory has basically proved to be real, especially with the Israel-Palestine situation. And what do you guys think of? What do you guys think of the hurricanes that are hitting and the absolute failure to respond by this Biden-Harris administration?
I'm not surprised.
Failure to respond is just pretty much expected from them, because I mean, by the entire Biden-Harris administration is just one big old weak government. So
yeah. And how about you, Shoes of Champion?
I'm not surprised. Just like fucking, the fucking trans shooting up the school like a year ago, or like almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like Biden gave a shit. They just wanted to. I don't know. The left. They just don't give a fuck. They just don't care about us. They're just, all they care about is power. And people are so like, SJWs and shit. They're just so dumb. They don't like they. I don't know. They just don't look at. They can't see that. They can't see the people they're voting for, like fucking Harris and Biden and Waltz. They don't give a shit. Like they use other issues that aren't even there.
Centrist.
What was that?
Like,
the centrist. Those people who are basically not woke, but they still drink the entire Kool-Aid pushed by our own government, specifically the entire Biden administration, as to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, there's so many fucking red flags that anyone can fucking see, but I don't know. They're so Trump deranged that they just don't care, I guess, or they're just really dumb. They listen to the lies and shit. They listen to the excuses. But I'm not surprised at all that fucking Kamala Harris. I'm not surprised that Kamala scum Harris doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean,
Kamala Ding Dong Blowjob Harris.
yeah. I
Mhm.
mean,
I just came.
Oh, go
Oh,
for it.
go ahead.
No, you go. You go first, bro.
I just came across a fucking Kamala Harris sticker on the telephone pole. I'm ripping it up right now.
Yes, sir. Rip them out.
Ah.
Rip them up.
Yeah, rip it
Fuck
up.
Kamala Harris. Trash.
Yeah, fuck Kamala Harris.
But no, I'm on
Fuck
the
that
same page
pod,
as you guys. I'm on the same page as you guys, and I think I can go into a little bit of in depth on this whole emergency thing. So, guys, let's just look at the things objectively as they've been, right? We saw what happened to Hurricane Helen, Category 4 hurricane. It's the middle, the left, as always, when it's a natural disaster, what is the first thing they do? They blame it on the climate change. Most specifically, the climate change conspiracy that Al Gore has been pushing since like the early 2000s, right? He said that the world would be underwater by 2012. He was completely wrong about it, right? And look, don't get me wrong. I personally, I'm an environmental supporter. I agree that we do need a clean environment, but guess what? The UN is going about it all wrong. They're not having a scientific approach. They pay off scientists like Dr. Peter Hortez, for example, and they pay off Bill Nye the Science Guy to push their agenda. But guess what?
Are they really?
Yeah, they do.
I forgot.
They've paid
That
Bill Nye
guy.
the Science Guy.
I haven't heard about that. I haven't heard from that guy in years. I didn't know he was still a thing. I didn't know he was still relevant.
He stopped doing the.
Wait, what's he doing again?
Look, after he stopped doing the kids show, the Democratic Party basically has to be a spokesperson for the UN climate agenda. But anyways, they blame the hurricane on climate change rather than just looking at things objectively from a scientific perspective. It's the middle of hurricane season. This hurricane came through Hurricane Alley, aka the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, it's been a hot year, but guess what? It's because we're in an El Nino period, which if you don't know what El Nino is, it basically means that the water temperatures are going to be a lot hotter, and they're getting sub-Saharan desert wind blowing hot air.
No wonder it's still 80 degrees in my home state.
Yeah, it's been fucking hot for me up here where I'm at as well. But anyways, this hurricane hits and destroys a whole bunch of shit. And what happens? Donald Trump goes to Asheville at ground zero, essentially, in North Carolina, and he donates $25 million to the Hurricane Relief Fund. What does the Biden-Harris administration do? They wait an entire week, and then what do? They give everyone a $750 stipend if they can apply to it, because most of these people, unfortunately, don't have Wi-Fi because their houses were just destroyed.
Yep.
And apparently the reports on the ground are saying that a lot of people, even people that apply for the stipend, they brought their computer with them or their iPad or whatever, and they go inside like a local McDonald's and use the McDonald's Wi-Fi to try to apply for this hurricane relief, this shitty $750 stipend, though it's necessary for like immediate groceries. It's not going to do jack shit in the long run for anybody. They apply for it, and then people are getting turned down, even if they were affected directly by the hurricane. Everyone's getting.
And then there's
getting help from the interstate and state level and community level people that are actually helping on the ground. And everyone says FEMA isn't really doing much, and if anything, they're actually disrupting, the recovery process. And the same shit's happening with Hurricane Milton that just basically wiped out Florida as well. It's the same old shit. And they did the same shit with the Lahaina wildfire as well. When Lahaina wildfire took out 101 people, and many more still missing even to this day. What did they do? Joe Biden ignored the crisis for 2 weeks, forgot about the crisis even. And then, he finally showed up and he vacationed. He mumbled and stumbled over every, speech he had. He fell asleep during a meeting. And what did the government do? They gave the people a $700 stipend. And then the state tried to take the land. And when the people said no, they just left everyone to rot, basically. And they're doing the same thing with Hurricane Helen and Hurricane Milton, unfortunately.
Yep.
Oh, but they've got plenty of money. They got plenty of money to send to Lebanon, a country which aren't we technically basically at war with at this point? Why are we sending Lebanon money?
The Uniparty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's billions of dollars they're sending them too. Of course, they also still funding Ukraine, still funding Israel, and still unfreezing Iranian assets too, even though we're literally about to go to war with them. It's insane.
Yeah.
But it's because Rexus is right at the point. It is the Uniparty. It's because neocons and Democrats have donors, and those donors are military and
want blood money.
bureaucrats.
Yep. To simply put it, those entire industrial complex bureaucrats are basically the American oligarch.
Yeah.
If I will.
Essentially, along with AIPAC.
Yep.
And the super delegates for the Democratic National Convention.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember at the DNC, Chris Cuomo was pointing out the super delegates in the rafters because they had the booth seats, right? The VIP booth seating inside of the arena at the DNC, and I was like, finally, someone points out that these people are the ones pulling the strings and putting up this figurehead that is Kamala Harris. And don't even get me started about Kamala Harris's, how she talks. I mean, she didn't, it took her over 2 months to outline any policy on her website. The policy that is on her website is so skewed and it's fucking misinformation. All independent economists that I've heard, including from The Economist, the news site, themselves say that Kamala's policy is going to destroy the economy, and we're already in a very shitty economy from the Biden-Harris administration and their hyperinflation, and from the coronavirus, which caused stagflation. I mean, it was so bad. Joe Biden had to reclassify what a recession was. And what does Kamala? All she can do is she won't outline any policy, except for the fact that
she's gobbledygook.
Yeah, she'll just do word salad and talk in what I call her. She talks in circular reasoning. She'll say, "We have to get to do what we have to get to go to get to do." That's literally how she talks.
Literally, word fetishism.
Word salad is the main word, and I mean,
yep.
I mean, give her a southern accent, and she sounds like Kent Hovind.
What would she say? I like with a British one.
I don't know, but she keeps fitting accents too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Depending on what fucking, I don't know, group of people she's with, there's the black accent, there's the fucking Indian accent, there's the fake Southern accent.
Oh yeah.
It's like, really? Like
fake New York accent.
People are, the fake New York accent. It's very cringe. It's very cringeworthy.
Oh, all cringe. She is one cringe bitch.
Yeah.
She is the cringler, as we refer to her.
Yeah, cringe alert.
Oh yes, Cringler.
Cringler. That's what. There's no other way to put it. Okay, she's just cringe.
Yes, she is cringe, and I
Yeah, the fake
do
laughing and shit.
one of her old nicknames, the Giggler.
The giggler. I've always
Giggler.
called her the cackleberry. I can even do it in a Donald Trump impression for you guys. Everybody knows about Kamala Harris. You know they call Kamala Harris. They call her the cackleberry because she's always cackling at all of her rallies, and she doesn't even bring in enough people to fill in the rallies. But she's the cackleberry, and she talks in circles.
Oh yeah, she just usually speaks in rhymes, which is so weird.
To be unburdened by what has been. Bitch, you are what has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with her on that one. Let's be unburdened by what has been and vote for Trump.
Yes,
Oh,
babe.
it's that that narrative that she's going to bring any change. It's like she's been the VP for almost 4 years already. Plus,
Yep.
Democrats have been in power for like the last 12 out of 16 years.
Yeah.
But yet they try to pin everything on Trump. I don't get it, Skip.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't get it.
Yep.
I don't know. I guess people are.
Ain't right.
I guess leftists and Trump deranged people. People with TDS, they're just so dumb that they. I don't know. They're so dumb that they just look past. They can't look past
Oh yeah,
orange
they
man.
are
down.
very dumb.
Like,
They
they don't.
are either dev, aka short fat adutaku stupid, or just a flat out woke tard stupid.
Yeah, they're just. I don't know. They listen to the lies, like CNN and all these fucking
Drink
the
the
View, all these
Kool-Aid!
fucking
The
outlets.
Kool-Aid
They're all
tastes good! Drink the
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid flop! Oh, it's so good!
They love the Kool-Aid.
Sorry.
Drink it.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, the Kool-Aid.
Yes, they
Love
all
the
love the
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
I'm trying to share
They're
this.
just really dumb. They're I don't know.
Oh yeah, they are.
Let's see how it looks on the live stream if I can get it up. I hope. I don't
And
think
of
it.
course, the Pacific states are just pro-Harris.
Yeah, these states are very pro Kamala. Hold on, I'm trying to get a zoom in here, but it won't
I
let.
wonder Pac 43. I wonder if Pac 43 is a radical Republican. He lives in Oregon.
Oh,
Did you make this list? I mean, did you make this chart?
no, this is 270 to win, and I'm trying to pull up the chart. I might just have to screen share it to the thing after, but I'll run through it right over here, so that way you guys could see it. But I'm gonna run through it really quick. If you guys click on the screen with this chart, then we'll run through it over here, and I'll base it off of the current polling.
I can see the screen perfectly. It's just a bit. It is
It'll
just
be a little bit
slow at
low
loading.
and yeah, I'm sorry. It's gonna be slow because this site has pop-up ads and shit. It's the worst.
Oh my god, the amount of ads is just painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it pretty
I'll
clearly.
start off. I'm basically just going to do the swing states over here. So here's what we have. I have first. I'm going to go with this. Probably the largest margin that Trump will win for the swing state would be North Carolina. He's up by, quite a bit in North Carolina. Last I've checked is probably like 3.5 was what was the last poll I heard, which was like yesterday morning. that he was up by 3.5 in North Carolina. So I have Trump winning North Carolina. I also have Trump winning Arizona by similar margins, like a 3 point or 2.5 point margin in Arizona. I mean, let's be honest, the Arizonians, they're tired of the illegal immigrants flooding their country. They witness it every day at the border. Trump's been down there and he's been campaigning hard in Arizona. And the college towns, I think, in Arizona are also going to go for Trump. Though they'll be a little bit closer because Joe Biden isn't in the race anymore. I said a while ago that Joe Biden would absolutely completely lose the college towns because, he can't relate to the kids. But now Kamala Harris, she's on the happy, happy, joy, joy train. So she tries to relate to the kids a little bit more. Then I have Trump winning Georgia by a very, very slim margin. It's in the South. They've been hit by 2 hurricanes already. Because Florida, yes, they got hit by hurricane. What was its name? Start with an M. I forget the name. Hurricane.
Mitch McConnell?
No, not Mitch. Hurricane Milton. My bad. Hurricane Milton.
Oh, Hurricane Milton.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking like Mitchell, but Hurricane Mitchell was a different hurricane from a while back. But Hurricane Milton, tore through Florida, but it also brought a lot of, it brought some mild damage to Georgia as well. And of course, as we know, Hurricane Helen basically went up the gut of Appalachia and tore through some of northern Georgia as well. And people in Georgia, the Carolinas, Florida, these people are pissed. They don't feel represented by the Biden-Harris administration, and justly so. I also think that Trump will probably likely just barely win Pennsylvania. He'll squeak out a win there because he's been campaigning very hardcore. And what I've heard recently is there's these people who are doing an independent news source, and they went around Pennsylvania and they asked a whole bunch of people who they're going to vote for president, and they said they just barely had a majority of Trump supporters, and they asked over 100 people in multiple different areas of the state. So it seems like Pennsylvania might flip red this year, and it's a little bit shocking because I didn't have Trump winning 6 months ago.
Yep.
Already to this point,
that's where he got shot too.
Already to this point, Trump already has 281 electoral votes, and he's won the election if he wins these key states. Of course, I think Kamala Harris has her tilts here. I think she'll still hold on to the Rust Belt, like Wisconsin and Michigan. The same news source that I got for Pennsylvania, they're saying that Donald Trump loses in Wisconsin just barely, because Tim Walz is a pick that a lot of the people, the union people, sort of relate to. That and the conservatives over these areas seem to be more moderate compared to like in the South, and in the Plains and Midwest over here. Also, currently, I'll give her Nevada just because in the recent poll, he's up 1 point in Nevada, and Trump hasn't been campaigning there a whole ton. But yeah, let me just share this to the main screen, if it will let me, so people can actually see. I'm just going to have to screen share to a different one. Right here. So the viewers at home can see. I'll flip this over to Trump and Harris. There you go. Trump will win 281 and Harris will win 257. There you go. All right. Now let's get back to screen sharing the main chat. So yeah, what do you guys think? Who do you guys think will win the 2024 election? Let us know in the
I
comments
think
below.
I am a personally think who will win would obviously be Trump, because I mean, look at Harris.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I fucking
really
hope
though,
so.
the problem is I feel like Trump made his blunder is his debate performance. He should have stuck to policy. He didn't. He decided to ramble about Haitians, and the media was able to spin it quickly. And I knew the media was going to be able to spin it
Eat
quickly.
the cat. Eat the cat.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you see it
And
coming. I mean, either way, there was going to be a narrative that the left was going to try to find on Trump and shit, and yeah, unfortunately, he kind of took the bait.
yeah. And it just seemed like Donald Trump got a little bit more flustered during the debate than Kamala Harris was, who, like, surprisingly, didn't crack under Trump's insults early on, because Trump was doing really, he was doing well early on with his, with his shtick, but it didn't seem to phase Kamala Harris as much as I think Trump thought it would have. It wasn't exactly the gotcha that would have ended Kamala Harris's career, and then they were able to make use that Haitian thing and just spin it, and now for the Tim Walz of JD Vance debate, that was a lot more impressive. That JD Vance actually was, JD Vance. It seemed like you were having like a civil discussion, which I actually found, people say, oh, it was boring. But I was like, well, it's actually kind of refreshing that we're actually having these two people talk about, bipartisanship. And it was, it was interesting to see that. But JD Vance actually looked really good in that debate. So maybe that will affect the election. The problem is because the debate, was considered boring, not nobody really, it's not going to get as many eyes as, the debate where Donald Trump talks about Haitians eating cats,
Yeah, because most people are saying that JD Vance won the debate. They're not. I don't know. I think the left, they're going to try to not really. JD Vance, he did a lot better in his debate than Trump did. So I don't.
Yeah.
I think the left's going to just try to forget that debate, the VP debate, even happened. They're not going to bring it up like they're going to bring up the presidential debate.
I mean, shit, that's been a lot of the strategy. I mean, you talk to some of these people and it's like they forget events that happened 2 or 3 months ago when you bring them up and they tell you, oh, it's false information. And then you go to look it up and be like, oh, here's the information. And then you've got like 10 articles down on Google that like is like by AP Media and Snopes saying, oh, it's been fact checked. It's false information. It's like amnesia. It's like they'll give anything that can be used against them now the Crispin Waugh treatment.
Yeah, like in the debate, they never, not once have they brought up the assassination attempts, but we're still talking about January 6th, which was 3 years ago. It's kind of weird, like you remember that parody video where they showed if Scumula got they attempted the assassination on Scumula. I guarantee they'd be talking about, like, that would be like the hot fucking topic on the debate. That would be like the main thing they'd be talking about. But because it happened to Trump, they're trying to sweep it under a rug. They're trying to make sure we forget about it.
They're trying to pretend that it didn't happen.
And of course, there's just, a lot of them are saying that Trump somehow staged it. Like they're really trying to make sure we forget about the assassination attempts.
Do they really think that that Donald Trump would allow himself to get shot at? I mean, isn't this guy supposed to be like the big narcissist to everyone? So why would he allow himself to get shot at? I don't think that guy puts himself anywhere near harm's way of a bullet. let alone on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
It doesn't add up. Doesn't make any sense.
I think there's definitely people who knew about it before on the left, because I mean, CNN doesn't really ever, like, they really, for a long time, they were not doing like live recordings of the Trump rallies, right? What are the odds that this is the one time that like these mainstream media things in some random rally in Butler, Pennsylvania? What are the odds that that these mainstream media companies were actually live streaming throughout the event, and then then Secret Service, like, they just completely ignore the kid on the roof. They completely ignore everyone yelling from the roof. The big guy with the orange hair that kind of looked like Seamus that was pointing out this kid. And then instead of getting Donald Trump off the stage, what they do is instead the Secret Service tries to move the crowd, like tries to part the crowd a little bit, and then wave in the media companies to take pictures seconds before the shootings actually, the shots are fired. I just thought it was suspicious.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I just think it was suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I think the left had something to do with it.
Yeah. It would make sense too. I mean, I think you sent me a video earlier today where you were saying that if they successfully assassinate Donald Trump, like the left would they'd spin it, they'd blame it on Iran, right? Because they've been saying, oh, Iran, they have plans to assassinate Trump. They accept that. They'd blame it on Iran, and then guess what? These same Democrats, they want to go to war with Iran. I mean, they're sending our troops there right now as we speak.
Yeah, like they already have, like, they have their ammo ready. Like they have all their their playbook. It's already set. Like they know, like they have their narrative that they're going to speak.
What's up, Brexus? Oh, I think his mic is muted. But what were you saying?
Mic's muted.
Yeah, he muted his mic. Hold on. What were you saying, though?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rex.
There's something before I got interrupted, but still, doesn't Iran have like 5 nukes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
I mean, they wouldn't. I don't think they could necessarily take us out, but they could seriously do some damage to.
Yeah, but they are allied with Russia.
Israel. Yeah, Russia is the one that we should be scared of as far as actual nuclear power. But let's be honest, what's going to happen when shit hits the fan? Most likely after November, right? What's going to happen when, this, because it's already being escalated. What's going to happen when the Iranian-Israel war fully kicks off, right? The Russia and China and North Korea and, Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis and Iran and Pakistan, they're all going to be on the same side, and that's a dangerous coalition.
I think India might. India will probably stay neutral because they are allies with both us and Russia.
Well, if Pakistan decides to get into the war and do something to India, then they will join us. because no matter what, India likes us because we're not big fans of Pakistan, and we protect them from Pakistan. So if Pakistan does any funny business, like allying with Russia and China and North Korea and Iran, then you bet your ass that, we'll be siding with India, and India will be siding with us as allies. I feel like for more of the Russia, for the Russian allyship, it's more of an economic allyship versus a military allyship. They've sold India a few planes and some weapons as well, but it's more economic because they're on the same landmass and continent. They can just like transfer goods in and out, over the mountains.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Anything else to wrap this discussion up?
I don't know. All I know is that the entire uniparty is just leading us to war. That's all I know.
Yeah. What do you think? Shoes of a champion.
Well, what?
To wrap this discussion up. Yeah.
Oh, well, those of you watching this video, don't forget to vote. Vote for Trump. We already discussed it in the video. If you're sick of all the woke shit,
birthday is in 2025.
So you're not 18 yet.
Yep.
Well, tell everyone.
He's 17. He's almost old enough to vote. Yeah, he's
almost old enough.
Almost.
Rex, just tell everyone, every adult, everyone that can vote, tell them all to vote for Trump.
Yep, vote for Trump.
And everyone watching, vote for Trump. If you're tired of all the woke shit, if you're just sick and tired of the woke shit and the inflation and shit, vote for Trump. And that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to this live stream with Shoes of a Champion and Rexus Prime. Hope you guys enjoyed. And again, if you guys haven't already, check out Shoes of a Champion's channel on YouTube. It's literally called Shoes of a Champion. But the O's are switched out with zeros, right?
No, my YouTube channel it's just always my Discord channel. Yeah, it's switched out.
Oh, the
Shoes of a Champion.
The YouTube channel is
YouTube channel. Yeah, it's just spelled Shoes of a Champion.
My Shoes of the Champion with O's.
Yeah, with those.
Yeah, and then Rexus Prime. Do you have a YouTube channel still, or?
No, not yet, because I was thinking of making one, but then I got sick with the flu, so yeah, I had to deal with that.
Yep. So unfortunately, he does not have a YouTube channel. But when he does make a YouTube channel, we could give him a shout out. So hopefully, get that YouTube channel created soon, bro.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys for coming. And again, be sure you guys leave a like, share, comment, and of course,